This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hey there, I'm Cameron Harris. We love making this show available to you free of charge, and you can help keep it that way by making a contribution to our Karma Jar or by becoming one of our sponsors. To learn more, visit our website. Hey there everyone, and welcome to another episode of Serious Geek. Today we've got some new hardware from Apple and some new software from Microsoft to talk about, so let's get right into it. Here's the news for March 2011. Now to start off with, we got two new announcements from Apple this month, the first of which was a refresh of their MacBook Pro line of laptops. Now we got the usual jump in specs that you would expect, but there are two things I'm very excited about. The first of which are the CPUs, the processors in these new laptops. You might recall that a few months ago we talked about Intel's new family of processors. Sandy Bridge is what they're called. The Core i3, i5, and i7 can all be found in the new laptops. Now, these things are screaming processors. They're very, very fast, significantly faster than the previous line of MacBook Pros. Now, there's another piece of Intel technology that's in these new MacBook Pros that I'm very excited about, and it's called Thunderbolt. If you don't recognize the name Thunderbolt, you may also know it by its original name, Lightpeak. Now, this was a new connector like USB or FireWire that Intel was experimenting with over the last few years, and they finally brought it to market under the name Thunderbolt. Now, this is a brand new connector, and it is incredibly fast, capable of 10 gigabits per second. Now, to put that in perspective, that's about 20 times faster than modern-day USB. Now, you only have one Thunderbolt port on each laptop, but you don't really need more than one because Thunderbolt is designed to be daisy-chained. For example, you could plug the laptop into a hard drive and then plug that hard drive into another hard drive. Both of those drives would then show up. Now, that's not all that amazing. FireWire can do that too. What is interesting, however, is that Thunderbolt is designed to work not just with things like drives. You could also use it with monitors. So you could actually plug your computer into a hard drive and then plug that hard drive into a monitor, and you would get access to both the drive and the monitor. Basically, Thunderbolt is capable of transmitting both data, audio, and video in two ways over its port. It can be used for pretty much any type of connection you could want. Now, there aren't any peripherals or accessories that use Thunderbolt yet, but several companies have announced that they intend to bring hard drives to the market very, very soon, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And the second big announcement we got from Apple was the iPad 2. Now, the original iPad was a huge success, and the iPad 2 is even better. Let's start off with the hardware. The hardware is much thinner than the original iPad. In fact, the new iPad 2 is smaller than the iPhone 4 in terms of thickness. That's pretty impressive. It's also got a new dual-core processor in it, which will come in very handy for heavyweight applications like 3D gaming or photo manipulation. The new iPad 2 also has dual cameras, just like the iPhone 4. The camera on the back is HD, and the camera on the front is designed to be used with FaceTime. Yes, the iPad will now do FaceTime, just like the Mac and the iPhone and the new iPod Touch. Something else that Apple did was they came out with a new case specifically designed for the iPad 2. The new iPad has magnets built into it, so this case actually latches onto those magnets and sticks to the front of the iPad, creating a fabric shield over the front screen. Now that fabric can be peeled off and opened sort of like a book, and when you do that, the iPad automatically turns on, and the case can then be folded into a stand, either for something like typing or sort of like a photo frame type stand. The iPad 2 is available now at the same price point as the original iPad, but you might have some difficulty getting your hands on one right away. The online Apple Store shows that the iPad 2 is going to take 4 to 5 weeks to be delivered right now, and in-store availability is a bit sketchy at best. Some stores might still have a few, but most have probably sold out, so check around, call ahead, and make sure you don't waste a trip. And our last story of the day comes from Microsoft. Now, Microsoft, as I'm sure you know, make the Internet Explorer browser. It comes standard on all Windows machines. Now, the current version of Internet Explorer, up until a few days ago, was Internet Explorer 8. Now, they've been teasing and showing off previews of Internet Explorer 9 for the last few months, and as of today, you can now get Internet Explorer 9 for yourself. It's a very nice web browser, supports all the latest HTML5 technologies, which is very nice to see, very fast, and very secure. I would definitely go out and get my hands on this one if you are a fan of Internet Explorer and don't want to switch to something like Firefox, Chrome, or Safari as an alternative web browser. Now, at the same time that Microsoft is promoting Internet Explorer version 9, they are strongly encouraging people to switch away from Internet Explorer 6. Now, this is a very old version of Internet Explorer. It's very slow, very insecure, and doesn't support any of the latest web standards. Nor should it, because it's such an old version. But a lot of people, surprisingly, are still using it. In fact, about 12% of the world's web traffic still comes from Internet Explorer version 6, and this is a problem that Microsoft desperately wants to fix, as do a lot of web developers and designers. To combat the problem, Microsoft has launched a new site called IE6 Countdown.com. Now, this shows where in the world Internet Explorer 6 is being used the most, and also what percentage of the world is still using it. Now, they have all kinds of things you can do to help encourage people to switch away from Internet Explorer 6. Things you can put on your own websites, ways to wean friends off of Internet Explorer 6. It's a really great site, and I would definitely check it out. And let's see if we can't get Internet Explorer 6 out of here. And that's all the news for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to check us out online, we're at www.harwoodpodcast.com. There you can find the Serious Geek show notes and links to all of the stories we talked about today. And be sure to friend us up on Facebook at facebook.com/HarwoodPodcast. You can get behind-the-scenes peeks at the network and all kinds of other great stuff on there. And of course, if you have any questions or comments for me about the show, you can send me an email at Cameron@HarwoodPodcast.com. I would love to hear from you guys. Until next time, please geek responsibly.